All right, so once I save the scene, I'm ready to start working on modeling the head of the character. So for the head, I will start creating a cylinder. So I'm gonna click here on the cylinder and I have to scale it down a little bit here. And I'm going to go first and I'm gonna place it on the front view, okay? So there's one thing here, one more thing I need to do in order to continue with this. And if you go here to the shading menu, you can select this option. Let's select wireframe and shaded. So whenever, even if the object is not selected, we're still able to see the wireframe on it. And another option is this one, X-ray. So I'm going to select X-ray, and now I have a transparent view of the object, so I can still see what I'm doing or my reference in the background. Okay. So I'm going to try to match the size of this cylinder according to the head. And remember, try not to use this, try not to scale it separately from each of the axes, because that could generate a distortion on the size of the head. Try always first to use the cube at the center in order to have the proper size of the character. To scale down the object in a proportional way. And I think just a tiny bit more. I think that's okay. All right. So I have like that. And now that I have it this way, I have to just scale it a little bit to the side. Maybe just a tiny bit like that. Okay. I'm gonna tap here, then I'm gonna change to the side view, and I'm gonna move this up to here. And I'm gonna do exactly the same thing I did on the other viewport. I'm going to select shading, wireframe and shaded, and also X-ray. And now I'm going to try to center this guy here, and also I'm going to scale it up to the side. Always try to follow the reference as much as you can. Try to follow the reference as much as you can. All right. So there it is. There you go. This is the basic. That's the basic cylinder that I will be using to make the head of the character. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make an extrusion of the cap, of the upper cap of the cylinder, to make this small piece of the head. For that, I'm going to right click over the object, select face, and select all these faces. Just make sure, if you press number 4, remember that you have 2 types of selections. The selections in Maya are transparent, so try not to select the faces at the bottom. With the control button, I'm going to unselect the faces at the bottom, at the cap at the bottom. Okay, I only have I should end up with only these faces selected on the top of the cylinder. And now I'm going to make an extrusion. I go here, remember always to be at the polygons menu, or submenu. And I'm going to select here mesh. Actually, it's edit mesh, face, extrude, option box. Reset the settings and just click extrude. And now I want to scale down extrusion. So I'm going to click over any of the boxes, like maybe this scale box here, and I'm going to pick the scale box at the center. And I'm going to make this a bit smaller. Okay. Maybe, yeah, right. And now I'm going to press G on the keyboard. And by doing that, remember that G repeats the last operation you did. So instead of going to edit mesh and select extrude again, I can only press G, and this time I will repeat the extrude operation, but now I'm doing it instead of scaling the extrusion, I'm just pulling it up. And for that, I'm going to use this view. So I'm going to pull this guy up to there, okay? And now I'm gonna click outside of it. But still I need to scale it down so it fits my reference. How am I going to do that? I'm going to go to this view again. I'm gonna change to vertex view, and I'm going to select the upper loop, this loop over here. I click this vertex, and then with Control Shift, I'm going to double click on an adjacent vertex, and that selects the whole loop of vertices. And then with Control Shift selected, I'm going to do the same for this other loop of vertices. So in the end, I have to end up with these two uppermost loops of vertices selected. And I'm going back into my front view, and I'm going to scale them down just on one axis, on the red axis, like this. And then I'm going to change the view, and I'm going to scale it down on the blue axis, like this. All right. I'm gonna check it out here. It's okay. It's really not that circular. Maybe I'm going to just tweak it a little bit over here, just so it's circular. Maybe I could be of some help to use the upper view just to make sure that the cylinder is as rounded as I can get. Okay, so it seems it's okay like that. All right. I'm going back into face mode, and now I'm going to select these faces, and I'm going to make an extrusion in order to make the hole at the top of the head. So with this, I'm going to draw a marquee and select these faces. I'm going to my perspective view and make sure that I unselect the faces at the bottom. With Control key, I unselect this. So I now end up only with the top upper cap selected. And I'm going to make an extrusion. So I go click Edit Mesh, Extrude, and now I'm going to make an extrusion. Again, I'm going to scale it down like this. Around there maybe. Press G to make another extrusion, but this time I'm going to pull it down. And again, I'm going to make use of this view, and I'm going to keep pulling it down until it fits this edge over here. I'm going to click outside, go back here, and see that now it has this hole on it. Okay. I'm going to do same thing with the neck of the character. So in order to do that, I'm going to select with the marquee, select all these faces, and then with I press number 4 to see which face I'm selecting that I don't want to select, and I click Control and unselect them. So I end up only with the bottom cap selected. Okay. And now I'm going to make an extrusion again. So I go Edit Mesh, Extrude, and I'm going to extrude it. Scale. I'm going to scale it inwards. Okay, like this. Maybe around there. Press G to repeat the operation, and then now I'm pulling it out. And I'm going to do kind of like the same thing I did with the head, with the top of the head. I'm going to put it around there, just so it barely touches the body of the character. Okay, so it's there. It's okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to repeat the operation I did on the other one. I'm going to right click, select vertices, and then on this view, I'm going to select these two loops. So I click here, I click on this one, Control Shift, double click on the adjacent one, and then I have all these loops selected, Control Shift this one, and double click on the adjacent one with Control Shift still pressed, and I have all the next selected. Okay, I have all the vertices selected except this loop at the very border of the cylinder. And now I'm gonna go back into the front view and repeat the process I did again. I'm going to scale it down so it barely matches the neck. Around there, maybe. And then I'm going to do the same for the side. On the side, it's a little bit like this. And then I just go back here on the bottom and try to see that it's okay. Actually, I'm going back into the top view, and with number 4, I just want to make sure that yes, it's circular enough. All right, it's okay like that. And then I'm going to click outside the object and right click, object mode, and that's a head. Now the thing is, if I press 3 on the keyboard, when it's smoothed out, I see that the shape kind of get lost a bit. It's not as defined as it should be. So in order to make it a bit more defined, I'm going to add more loops to the object. I'm going to press 1 again. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to right click and go into edge mode. I'm going to select this edge and Control Shift double click on the adjacent one. And now I have all these edges selected. Okay. I have all the loops selected. And by doing so, I'm going to use another operator here called offset edge loop tool. Offset edge loop tool. So I'm going to click option box and just reset the settings. And I'm going to click this button, enter tool, and close. So as you can see, my cursor is now turned into an arrow. And what I'm going to do with this option is I'm going to create 2 more edges based or using this loop as the center of it. So I have to select another edge like this one, over which the other 2 borders will be created. So I'm going to click over this edge. Oops, it wasn't. Control C. I'm going to click over this edge. Sorry. And I'm going to, if you see, without letting the left mouse button go, I can move the mouse to left and right, and I can slide the 2 loops that I'm going to add over the object. So I'm going to slide them down so they end up around that area, maybe that distance, and I let the mouse go. And then if I press 3 on the keyboard, right click object mode, I see that this shape is a bit more defined, this border. However, I still need a similar border over here, and then at the top of the head. So I will continue adding more of these edges. Now what I'm going to do is add another one here. So I click on this edge and do the same thing. I'm going to create a loop over there. Okay. So this one's created there, but as you can see, the one above is too close. This edge loop is too close to this one. So I'm going to go here and select the select tool, click on the select tool, select this edge, Control Shift, double click on the adjacent one, and I have all these all these loops selected. And now I'm going to slide it down, slide it over this edge so it's separate, so I can separate it a bit from this other edge because it's too close. So I'm going here, Mesh Tools, and select Slide Edge Tool option box. And here I just reset the tool. And it says drag with middle mouse button. So over this edge, I'm going to click middle mouse button. I'm going to slide. As you can see, as I move the mouse to left and right, I'm sliding the edge over the face. So I'm gonna bring it a bit more like around here. Oops. I'm gonna get closer because it's still a bit too close. Maybe around there, okay? That distance is enough. I can click here on the select tool. I can close the tool settings, and then I now have another loop there, a bit separated, okay? Right click, object mode, and then if I press 3 on the keyboard, I see that this border is a bit more extreme. I think it's too tight. If you see this curvature of the character is not as close as this one, shouldn't be as close as this one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select edge, and I'm going to maybe open this one. Yes, let's see. I'm going to slide down this border a little bit. So click there. Control Shift, double click the adjacent one, and I'm going to slide the edge again. So slide edge tool, and I'm going to bring it down. I'll see if I press number 3. Okay, if you press 3, you have a visual representation, an immediate representation of what you're doing. So I'm going to bring this guy down a bit, and then I'm going to select this one, Control Shift, double click. And with middle mouse button, I'm going to slide this one over towards the inside. So it gives me now that that curvature here. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit nicer. Okay, I'll see if I can select these two and slide it down. Yeah, I can also slide it. So I'm going to slide it a little bit like that. Or maybe not. I think it's okay. I think it's okay like that. I'm just going to Control Shift this and see if I bring it down a little bit. No, I think it's okay as it is. Okay. So I go back into object mode and it's a bit rounded. It's still a bit rough. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this edge. I'm going to into edge mode and select this edge, Control Shift. And what I'm going to do here on the side view is I'm going to bring it down a bit. I'm going to pull it down like this. And I'm also going to scale it inwards a little bit like this. I'm also going to Control Shift and select this loop as well. I'm going to move it up just so I can give this curvature over here. I'll see if I can do the same with this one. Control Shift, double click. A little bit, tiny bit down like that. go back into object mode, press 3 and see what happens. And you can see now that the curvature here is a little bit nicer. So that's exactly what I want. Okay. I'm going to add a couple more edges here at the top, just so this area ends up a bit more sharpened. So I'm going here. I'm going to go into edge mode again. Select this edge, Control Shift, click this one, and I'm going also to offset this edge. So I go into Mesh Tools, Offset Edge Loop, and with the middle mouse button, I'm going to offset another edge like this one, maybe. Okay. Now press 3. Okay. And I'm going to do the same for this one here. This one here. So I'm going to select this one. Oops. I'm going to select this and make another one like this. Object mode, press 3, and you can see now the shape is a bit more obtuse, it's a bit more sharpened than before. Just the hole here is a little bit smooth out. It's still smooth out, so I'm gonna go into edge again, and I'm going to offset this edge as well. So I'm going to offset this edge a little bit, like that maybe. And then I'm going back into object mode, press 3, and now it's sharpened as well. So now the head it's correctly sharpened, and I only need to do something like that with the neck. See how the neck is still a bit soft? I have to do something like this, an operation like this, in order to make it a bit more defined. So I'm going to select edge, edit mesh, mesh tools. Where is it? Offset edge loop tool, and I'm going to offset this border, this edge, just so it's a bit more like this. And I'm going to offset this edge as well, this one. Right click, object mode, press 3, and there you go. Now it's more defined. And that's it for the head. That's the head of the character. You know, one more thing, I think I'm missing it. We're gonna need another edge like this for when we texture the head, the face here. So we only have this loop over here, and I might probably need a couple more edges over there. So I'm going to edge mode, select this one, Control Shift, double click on the adjacent one. I'm gonna bring this one a bit up, like that. I'm going to also Control Shift, select this loop and bring it a bit down because I modified the other one. Just scale it up, you know what? I'm not gonna bring this one down. Just undo that until, yeah, I'm just gonna add, forgot those 2 steps. I'm just gonna add another loop over here. That won't be necessary, okay? So I'm going to Mesh Tools. I'm going to Mesh Tools and then select Insert Edge Loop Tool, option box. Oops, I have to be in view number 1, reset the tool, and then click whatever here, maybe. I'm gonna make one at the center here, around the center, and then another one here. at the center of the center. Okay, and let's see what happens if I press 3 here. All right, this one was maybe a bit too low, so I'm going to select this one, Control Shift, double click, Control Shift click and double click, and I'm going to move these two a little bit more up. Okay, and also I'm going to slide this one a little bit like this. Okay, all right. So now that's it. That's the head of the Lego. I'm gonna close this and I'm going to save the scene. And on the next tutorial, we'll be building the torso.